Now, if you're not a fan of EVs, plug-in hybrids can be the way to go, but you're usually stuck with a body style of like a saloon or an SUV or an estate or even a hatchback. But Mercedes have done something different with this car. This is their new CLE, which I have covered before, but not this exact car. This is a plug-in hybrid in a coupe style, which they've never done before. So it's quite an interesting car. So we're going to check out loads of things from the rear seats to the boot. Boot space is obviously quite important in plug-in hybrids, multimedia system, and of course range and charging as well. So we've got loads to go through today. Let's take a look. So yes, as I mentioned, I have already covered the Mercedes-Benz CLE recently, the coupe, and of course the convertible, the cabriolet. However, as I said, the plug-in hybrid version has caught my eye because, well, where does the battery go? Of course, it's probably going to go in the back in the boot, which we'll check out in a minute, but yeah, how much boot space is remaining with that battery in there? But for those of you that haven't heard of the Mercedes-Benz CLE at all, a quick recap. Basically, Mercedes-Benz have, well, a lot of models in their range, and they've announced a little while ago that they were consolidating a lot of their range and just making it that much simpler. Because if you've never had a Mercedes before and you walk into, you know, one of their showrooms, they have so many models to choose from. There's like 8 SUVs, 3 estates, many hatchbacks, and yeah, loads more. That's not even counting coupes and cabriolets. So what Mercedes-Benz have done, they've got rid of the C-Class coupe and the convertible version and done the same for the E-Class. So that's 4 models gone. They've introduced this one, which is the CLE. Now you can get this in a coupe version and of course the cabriolet version as well, but the plug-in hybrid is specifically on the coupe, probably because, as I mentioned, that precious boot space. Now, of course, with a lot of Mercedes-Benz, they do have all these stars, which is quite common now. So all these tiny stars, big one in the middle. And of course, if you notice down on the sides here as well, there's even more Mercedes-Benz stars. So kudos to anyone who can count them all. Now, you'll be pleased to hear as well, Mercedes-Benz do have that really cool light technology called digital light. Now, I have made a video on that before, so I will link that in the description down below if you wanted to check that out. And, well, to save you watching it all, it's some pretty incredible lights and basically turns night into day. But while we're here on the side, this is what the CLE kind of coupe is famous for, that kind of slopey roof line at the back. And to be honest, C-Class coupes were really popular. E-Class coupes were just that little bit more expensive, so didn't quite kind of reach like mass market. But this is one of the things why Mercedes have just consolidated these cars together and produced this. So you might be wondering on the size. Well, to summarize it very quickly, this is E-Class size. There is no longer a C-Class coupe size car that Mercedes-Benz sell. So if you have a C-Class coupe at the moment, it is bigger. There's no getting around it. So here's all the dimensions on the screen for the CLE, the C-Class coupe, and of course the E-Class coupe as well. As you can see, it is closer to E-Class coupe size. Now, when it comes to trims and packages, now on my channel I don't go through exact specifications just because, as always, it will vary over time and it will vary around the world. However, if you're interested, this is the Mercedes-Benz CLE 300e Premium. So in the UK there are different packages like Premium and Premium Plus, and they depict the kind of gadgets you get on the inside, and most importantly the wheels. Now these are 19-inch wheels here, just in case you're wondering, and for those of you who ask about the colour, I'll let you know that as well. This is graphite grey metallic. Quite nice, because I do like grey metallic paints. Now, just before we check out the boot, a word on pricing. So prices for the CLE coupe start from 46,620, of course correct at the time of recording, but the plug-in hybrid starts from 60,610. Now, of course, this car I have here is the premium package, so it'll be just a little bit more than that. Oh, and of course it has the metallic paint option as well. So getting on to the most important part I mentioned about the boot, because this is a plug-in hybrid, which means the boot capacity is going to be slightly less. So normally it's 420 litres in a standard CLE coupe, but this one that goes down to 290. You also notice these bags here as well. These are for the cables for charging. So no, there is no underfloor storage space, so they do have to stay on top somewhere. But of course, if you are going to only charge at home, you could just take them out and then you've got a little bit more space there. I will add as well, you can also fold the seats down, but that's not done from the back. That is done from the rear seats just behind in this position just here. Shame there's no switch here to kind of fold them down, but at least they can be folded down. So, you know, a car of many uses. But there is also a little hook here, just in case you want to hang any shopping as well, stop it like rolling around in the boot and that sort of thing. Right, well, I think now is the time to have a look at those rear seats. Now guys, if you're loving this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button just down below. It would help me out massively. And of course, I do have a members section as well, where you can check out behind the scenes content and even see next week's video before anyone else. Right, on with the tour. Now, when it comes to these rear seats, of course, we have to respect this is a coupe, which of course means it will eat into that kind of rear headroom for a start, and of course the space the passengers would get. But it is bigger than the C-Class Coupe. So if you have a Mercedes-Benz C-Class Coupe at the moment, you will welcome the extra room in here. I am 6'2" and currently sat behind myself. So yes, that is my driving position, which is pretty good for a coupe. Now, I should also add some context as well, as that a few of you do say that my driving position sometimes is in the wrong position. I do have very, very long legs, so I have to have the seat quite far back. And this is that position. So pretty good, I can sit behind myself in the CLE. Nothing has changed from the CLE review I did a couple of months ago, but still, it's pretty good that you can actually have someone who's 6'2" sit behind here. Now, when it comes to headroom, of course, I do have a slightly shorter body, so it might be best to kind of check yourself on like test drives and that sort of thing with the rear passengers, but my hairs, the tips of my hairs are touching the top of the roof. So, you know, if you've got anyone fairly tall in the body and a bit shorter on the legs, then of course their head might actually be touching, but hey, I can sit behind here, so it works for me. There's a couple of extra things here as well. So there's little hooks if you need to hang any shirts or suits and that sort of thing. No centre armrest as such. You can fold the seats down 40-20-40, which I guess could be an armrest, but of course this is quite firm. It's not officially meant to be a, you know, like an armrest, but you could use it for that, I guess. Lock that back in there. 2 cup holders, a little bit of storage there, not sure what you'd use that for. There's kind of like a little area down on the side here as well, and there's 2 USB-C ports down there for good measure. Up front is of course this awesome multimedia system that I mentioned, and it's stunning. It's actually positioned and angled slightly toward the driver for like a kind of sportiness kind of aspect. I think Mercedes-Benz have got it just right, because the whole design in here is absolutely beautiful, and for anyone looking at a coupe, it's very nice. And that sound behind me there was what I'll show you in a minute is the what I like to call the butler. It kind of gives you the seat because the doors are quite big. But yeah, design-wise, it's beautiful. We've got this kind of swooping line here with this multimedia system here in the middle, and we'll come on to more on that in a minute. Steering wheel, again, absolutely beautiful. I have this exact same steering wheel in my car. I love it to bits. I just wish they were kind of physical buttons, because everything on here is touch. So there's a lot of touch things on this steering wheel, but it does make a click when you swipe up and down through the various menus and things. So a quick tour of the storage. In here we have 2 USB-C ports in there, and then in here an extra 2 USB-C ports. So that's 6 USB-C ports in here. That seems quite a lot for a coupe, but can't complain. And they've all got this like little illumination of blue around the outside as well, so in case you're in the dark you can easily see the port. For those of you that have wireless charging on your phones, there's also a wireless charging pad in there as well, so that's all good. And of course cup holders there as well, and all soft close, very nice. Then we have this touch bar along here with various different things. Now, as this is a plug-in hybrid, there's different modes and things you can kind of do. You can have it on kind of an automatic mode, or one that very cleverly integrates with the sat nav for the driving modes, or you can just drive on electric, or you can use the engine and the electric motor as well. So pretty clever. I do have a separate video on the different driving modes, so I will link that down below if you wanted to see that. But you just press this to cycle through these different modes. The next button across is Mercedes-Benz's parking camera, which is very, very clear. Now on this particular car, it's a 360-degree all-round camera. This bit over here will be black at the moment, just because I had the door open and my camera and stuff over here at the moment. So not easy to show while I'm parked here. But I mean, look at how clear everything is here. You can just spin around the entire car, apart from the black bit there. But say you're, I don't know, parking against like a curb or something, like on the road, you can just press this button and it will zoom down to show you how close you are to the curb. It's very, very clever. There's an extra button here with plug-in hybrid settings, and of course the main vehicle settings there, and then the fingerprint reader as well. So you can even log in to your own profile and keep all your settings nice and safe and secure, your address and that sort of thing, through fingerprint recognition, just like a phone. So pretty high tech. But yes, we'll come back to that multimedia system in a second. We're just continuing the tour. Glove box, yeah, that's a fairly decent size. 2 tiers there, so pretty good. And then storage on the doors here, despite their size, I mean, they are really, really big. That bit is a little bit on the small side, the kind of storage in there, but hey, I'm sure it'd be big enough for like a drink or sunglasses and that sort of thing. So that's pretty good. So now onto the multimedia systems. So this is MBUX, and this is one of the latest generations of MBUX that Mercedes-Benz have. You can tell by going on here and you have all these colourful kind of icons. So yes, there's various different things on here you can do. Sat nav, I've covered this many times on many Mercedes reviews, but a quick overview is very easy to start, stop and mute. The most important things on the sat nav. Say you're going to go where to, and I don't know, you just type in pool, literally just down the road. That one, let's go.
The route is being calculated.
The sat nav is very, very easy to use. And as this is a plug-in hybrid, there's also a button here to search for all the nearest charge points. So there are various apps and things you can use to search for charge points, but having it in the car is pretty cool. And this car is also compatible with a thing called Mercedes Me Charge, which kind of integrates your multimedia system with the charging network. I'm hoping to make a video on that soon for EV owners and plug-in hybrid owners, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. For all the other things, of course, this does have wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto as well, and you can plug it in if you want to do it via the wire as well. So a multitude of different things you can do there, and home just brings up everything else that this car can do. So it's just super easy. The buttons are nice and big. One note on the climate control, actually, it's actually all along the bottom just here. Yes, it is all touch based, and I'm not a huge fan of everything being touch in a car. But this bit is fixed, it doesn't move, so no matter what you put on the top part of the screen, the climate control is always there on the bottom. Now this car also does have a voice assistant, as well as do all Mercedes-Benz cars. So if you say the phrase, "Hey Mercedes,
how may I help you?"
you can give her commands and do a load of different things. This has actually been out since like 2018, that voice assistant in the car, and it's very, very good. You can ask it the weather and all sorts of things, and if I can turn her off, there we go. She can sometimes be a little bit too friendly, but yeah, just say the phrase, "Hey M," I'll say the M, otherwise it will actually trigger. Then you can give it a command. Now, of course, this being a plug-in hybrid, the hybrid part of it is one of the most appealing parts of it. So let's talk about the kind of engine and the electric motor and the battery and charging very quickly just before we go out. Now, when it comes to tech specs, the engine here is a 2-litre engine, and then of course there's the electric motor as well, which works out about 129 horsepower for the electric motor on its own. Now, as this is a plug-in hybrid, it can run on electric up to almost 70 miles. Yes, 70. Its official one is 69 miles, but yeah, it's almost 70 miles. That's mad. I remember a day when plug-in hybrids only went up to 14, and then in the winter it was more like 7. So it's pretty good to see that. Yes, I know that's the quoted range, so obviously it's going to be a little bit less than that, but still 69 miles. That's incredible. Now, charge times can be anything from 2 to 3 hours. It does depend on how fast the charger is, but a typical home charger will be about 3 hours, so it doesn't actually take that long to charge up. But if you're going to charge using a 3-pin socket, of course that will take just a few more hours than the kind of wallbox method. Right, let's get this out on the road. Right then guys, so let's test out what this hybrid can do on just electric. With 129 of those horses. Well, I mean, it's got some go. Plenty enough for, you know, driving on electric. So there we go, that is 70. I know that's obviously not the quickest thing, and like compared to like electric cars where they have the surge of power, but this is a plug-in hybrid, it has both. So we'll do the engine bit in a minute. But yeah, this is what it's like cruising at 70 miles an hour. it's very, very similar to the CLE Coupe. You can barely tell that this is the plug-in hybrid, despite the fact there's actually quite a large battery pack in the boot. You barely notice it. Now, of course, if you're going to be throwing this around corners and roundabouts and things like that, you might notice it, but certainly I don't notice this. If you hid all the hybrid elements on the screen and just said, Nick, is this a plug-in hybrid? I don't think I'd actually be able to tell, unless of course you were driving it pretty quickly. But yeah, this is on electric, and it's certainly plain smooth sailing. Just think, wherever you are based, wherever you live, put a little pinpoint on the map of where you are and then expand out 50 to 60 miles, because obviously 69 is what Mercedes quote, but obviously realistically it's going to be just a little bit less than that, because all of our driving is different. I've got the aircon on, for example, at the moment, so that's going to be a bit less. Just to zoom out 50-60 miles or so, imagine all of that at a third of the cost, so your commutes to back, to shops, to gym, that sort of thing. It's a no-brainer really. Or take the plunge and go full EV. I could do a whole video on hybrids versus electric or something like that, so guys, you'll have to let me know. Would you like me to cover that in the future? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, one good thing, of course, as I mentioned, I have covered Mercedes-Benz different driving modes on hybrid before, and they're very, very sophisticated now, because traditionally with a plug-in hybrid, what you're meant to do, and what a lot of people will do, is that you start on electric, and once all of that electric is used up, it'll then switch over to the engine, which is brilliant. But what this does, this multimedia system in here, it can incorporate all of that to your sat-nav journeys. So if you are, I don't know, traveling 100 miles, it can space out some of that electric throughout the entire journey and make it last a bit longer. It's pretty cool. Now, as I mentioned, it's really, really cool to see that Mercedes-Benz have put a plug-in hybrid system in a coupe, because I don't think there are many car manufacturers that have done that, because sometimes when you're looking at plug-in hybrids, you are forced to choose certain body styles of car, just because obviously placement for the batteries. It's probably one of the reasons why you can't get a plug-in hybrid convertible yet. I don't think anyone's made one. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Right, enough talk. Let's put this into sport mode and see what the performance is like. And onto one of my favourite roads for car testing. Oh, this has got some poke. Oh, that sounds good. Well, there we go. That was a lot quicker than being on electric on its own. Oh dear. Do you know, that brings me very neatly onto this thing that's flashing at me right now. Did you hear that sound? That is a speed warning thing that all car manufacturers now have to have, which I won't lie, is really, really annoying. Now, I have covered a dedicated video on that, so guys, if you want to watch that, there's a link in the description down below. But to turn off the speed warning thing, Mercedes have made it very easy. There's a button top right there to turn it off, simple press, and you can also hold the mute button to toggle it on and off as well. So, although it automatically enables on every journey, which is a little bit annoying, I advise you go watch that video for all new cars. It's a little bit annoying, but hey, at least you can turn it off. Let's try a launch. 3, 2, 1, go. There we go, 60. That does sound good. That is a very sporty sound for a 2 litre. Yeah, let's put that back into electric mode and go all quiet. And engine off any seconds. There we go. So, final thoughts then, guys. Well, for that, I think we'll come to the side of the road somewhere, and we'll go through all the pros and cons. Okay guys, so starting off with the pros. Now, I know I've mentioned this a couple of times, but I personally think it's a really, really good thing. The fact that Mercedes-Benz have a plug-in hybrid in this body shape now is brilliant, because everyone would have been limited to SUVs and everything that I mentioned, you know, at the start of the video. So that's number one. Number two, I've got to give it to all of the kind of hybrid intelligent tech that's kind of found in this multimedia system. So basically when you navigate somewhere, you don't have to use all the electric up at the start. Yes, you have the manual modes and things you can kind of adjust down here, but the fact it's got all this intelligent stuff so it can just do electric in a city, for example, or, you know, spread out across your route. It's very clever, and all of it is adjusted, of course, in settings. And of course, as well, it's all compatible with Mercedes Me Charge. And I guess the final one I've got to say, I've got to give it to the looks, because the CLE Coupe does look incredible. Design-wise, I absolutely love it. Now on to the cons. Now the cons, I've got to say, it's probably going to be price, because when you introduce a plug-in hybrid for a car, normally you'll find that the price will go up, although I have seen some models out there which are kind of a similar price to petrol and diesel. But yes, the extra tech of a plug-in hybrid, the battery and things like that, will increase the price. So the price is up there, but having said that, to have the style and a plug-in hybrid might be a price worth paying for. The other two cons I've got to say are probably the limited visibility at the back. I have noticed, especially when you know, driving on the road, due to the curvature of the roof on the back, there isn't that much kind of visibility there. But having said that, I guess it kind of makes up for it with the camera system. That's not a problem with this car. It's just that's what all coupes are like. They have a slopier roof at the back. Take a GLC coupe, for example, there. I mentioned that in that car. Just the fact the roof slopes down, you will have less visibility in the back, but as I said, the camera system's pretty good on it. And then the final thing I've got to say is probably down to the wide doors of this car being a coupe. Coupes naturally do have really, really wide doors, which is fine here because there's loads of space either side of the car. But if you're on a car park, it can make getting in and out a little bit tricky. Sometimes you'll only be able to open the door like that much, and getting in and out there is going to be a bit tricky. But obviously, they do open pretty wide, and then you've got to lean out the car to almost get it. So yeah, it's kind of good the doors do open wide, and they of course are quite heavy compared to you know, like a 4-door or 5-door car, like a C-Class saloon or something. But these are all pros and cons, something to think about. And I did mention I'd show you the belt butler, what I'd say. There he is, little belt butler there, you see, very nice. Alright guys, well I think we will end it there. So that concludes this week's video on the Mercedes-Benz CLE plug-in hybrid that Mercedes-Benz now offer. Now I'd like to take this opportunity to give out a huge shout out to Sandown Mercedes, as they help provide, you know, access to this car so I can actually make this video for you. So it would be very tricky to do it without them. And fun fact, that's actually where I bought my car from. So yeah, I can only recommend them because they are very, very good. But guys, thank you so much. Until next time, see you then.